Hey everyone, Aaron here. Welcome back to another anime review. Today we're looking at the show known as Samurai Champloo. Now, Samurai Champloo actually is one of those shows that I think I had in my top 50 list of being one of my favorite shows. I mean, it is an awesome show. And if I didn't have it in my 50, it's definitely up there in the hundreds at least. It's one of those shows that I really dig, and I love everything about it. I love the music, I love the characters and stuff like that. But let's talk about what this show actually is. I mean, you know, because not many people may know what it is. Now, if you know Shinichiro Watanabe's actual work, he does like stuff like Cowboy Bebop, Terror Resonance, to just name a couple. He does a lot of cool stuff. Like, a lot of stuff has a lot of soul, different things about it, has great music. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a work that he's ever done that has bad music. Never. But this story is very interesting because what it does essentially is it's not taking place in a new age time period or a future plot like that. It's actually taking place in a fictional version of the Edo period of Japan, which is where samurais existed and stuff like that. And we have our main character, Fu. She's a 15-year-old girl who she is on a mission to look for the man who smells like sunflowers, or more so the samurai that smells of sunflowers. Now, along the way, Fu has been working at various places. You know, she's trying to figure out, you know, what am I going to do? How am I going to find this guy? She's a 15-year-old girl. She can't go out and, you know, start looking for him across the land and stuff like that. Probably get killed. She ends up wanting to hire two people, and she ends up running into two really crazy guys. She runs into Mugen, who's a vagabond who, excuse me, he goes around, he's very unconventional, he fights in a weird manner. You know, he uses a feet a lot, he kicks a lot, he uses a sword, like the way his sword even is not even done like a regular samurai sword and stuff like that. He is crazy, but Mugen is one of the best characters of this show, hands down, I'm just gonna say that right now. And then you have Jin, who is a traditional kind of reserved ronin, who he is, I want to say, the calm and collected one of the two, but he can also get on Mugen's nerves, and he also has the times where he, like, because he's so calm and collected, he won't actually act unless he really needs to. So we have a weird cast of characters. Fu ends up hiring these two, and I'm putting air quotes, by the way, because you guys can't see that, but hiring these two to help her find this man who smells like sunflowers. Now, along the way, this is a whole episodic type adventure. This show has the underlying tone, of course, of them looking for that guy. But along the way, they run into a whole bunch of different things. They run into, like, weird cults. They run into other, you know, I want to say rival samurais, you know, stuff from their past, all their past kind of conjuncture on one point or another. And it's almost like, in many ways, Cowboy Bebop setting, where Cowboy Bebop had a main underlying story, but it was always episodic. And I think what's funny is Shinichiro, I can't think of the guy's name, and I just said it before, I apologize. And I always mess his name up. Shinichiro, what he does with his work is that he really does a cool thing that he makes all of his shows kind of feel different, even though you could see his art style and or not more so his art style, but his kind of signature-esque imagery in the shows. Like, you know it's his work when you see it. And that's one thing that Samurai Champloo does very well. Now, the problem with Samurai Champloo, though, it does have some issues, is that, one, it's very episodic, which is not a big deal per se. I don't mind episodic shows, but if you're really looking for a really big, grandiose plot, you know, with the whole them looking for this thing, don't look for it here, because it's supposed to be a kind of comedy character show. It's not meant to really be super serious at times. I mean, it does get serious once in a while. It does get adult here and there with some of the kind of influences and things they go and kind of tread upon. But it's never meant to be super serious. It's meant to be a show that is funny, that is action-packed, but it's never going to be a very it's never going to be a plot-orientated show. And that also leads to a really shitty end. I'm sorry right here, folks, I cursed it when I just said that, but it is a really bad ending. It is one of those endings that I dislike so much because nothing is resolved. You know, you get this kind of like, oh, maybe something resolved, but nothing really feels resolved. Every one of the characters is kind of left in this kind of a limbo-esque scenario, and I'm really not a fan of stuff like that. But it's to be expected, I guess, in many ways. But with the type of show, it's episodic, but it just kind of ticked me off a little bit personally. It's one of my pet peeves, and I think a lot of people will agree with me on it, that it was one of the worst parts of the show. But other than that, though, one thing that I love about the show, and I think everyone loves about the show, is both the music and the art, because this show is visually stunning, but also listening to it is amazing. Like, the music, the hip-hops, the culture, the stuff that they put into this, it makes it feel so much like, so little like what I'm trying to look for the word and I can't express this. it's trying to be something so different despite it having so much culture in it. And it's interesting because, like, for example, one of the episodes has like this hip hop artist who shows up in Japan. And he's trying to rap and stuff like that. And I'm like, you would never see that back then, because that during that period that didn't exist yet. There were people that would do stuff like that, but they weren't rappers and stuff yet. And I was like, wow, the way that it fuses though is that it fits so perfectly in the show, because you listen to the music and it fits both with the kind of Edo time period, but also at the same time the feeling of a new age music. It's very interesting. It's kind of hard to explain fully, but it's one of those shows that you will love it because of how crazy and weird it is. Now, again, like I said, everything's going against the show. I mean, everything's going for the show. I said against. My review today is like, meh. Everything's going for the show. We have a great kind of visual, appealing imagery. We have a great soundtrack. We have a very decent set of cast of characters. Where I love the cast of characters. They're voiced by some of my favorites. Kirk Thornton versus Jin. Carrie voices Fu, and Stephen Blum voices Mugen. So you already have a great cast of characters. I would say highly recommend watching this in English. Japanese dub is okay. I think the Japanese dub for this though doesn't fit the setting sometimes. I think more so the English dub is what really makes it that much more powerful. That's just my opinion though. And typically his works, Watanabe's works, I always feel sound better in English dub. I don't know why that is, but that's just me. But it's not bad either way. If you put it on English or Japanese dub, it's perfectly fine. But again, the only thing I have with it is story sometimes, and the ending is horrible. But what would I review it if I reviewed it A through F? Honestly, I review it with a solid B+. Now you might be going, well, that's kind of low, doesn't it? It shouldn't be like A-, or... I want to give Samurai Champloo an A-, I really do. But because of the ending being so bad, it leaves like this kind of bad taste in your mouth after you watch it. Like, it's like, what? That's how it ends? Really? Nothing else? It's one of those shows. And when shows do that to me, I always kind of hold it against them personally. I mean, I'm trying to be unbiased with this. I know it's like, wait, how can you hold it personally but be unbiased? Well, honestly, the show, besides, it's also got its kind of quirks about it. It's one of those shows that you may not like the certain music for. You may not like the certain visual stunning style of it. And I said visually stunning because it is visually stunning. I don't care who says otherwise. But I understand if you don't like it, because, certain people have certain taste with anime. So I'm going to be unbiased as much as I can be, and I'm going to say B+. I think this show is awesome, but I do say it has its flaws here and there. But anyways, guys and girls, I know it kind of seemed like a crappy review today. I'm sorry. I just kept stuttering in certain places. It happens once in a while. Can't do anything about it, but I'm going to keep it in there because I got my point across. As always, guys and girls, please like, comment, share the video, the whole nine. And until I pass across again, next review. Have a good one, everyone. Bye-bye.